So homie want to know if he wrong for throwing away food in the freezer and putting a padlock on it. Let's read about it. So it says, I, 39 male, have been married to my wife, 32 female, for 4 years. We usually get along just fine. One of the issues that we've had since our relationship began has been our freezer. Simply put, my wife puts the freezer full of food constantly. There's absolutely zero space for me to put anything in there. I tried to solve this by buying the fridge with the biggest freezer we could find. I dropped nearly 4 grand on it. That's a lot of money. She interpreted this as an invitation to buy more frozen food so she could play microwave dinner Tetris with the freezer. Every single nook and cranny is stuffed full. She still buys food and somehow finds a way to fit them in. The worst part is when I buy a frozen food or freeze something for meal prep, she asks me at least 3, 4 times a day when I'm gonna take it out the freezer. She essentially nags until I remove the food from the freezer so she can put something she won't be touching for 6 months in it. Last weekend, I finally snapped and bought an inexpensive single door deep freezer. I put it in the basement near the washer and dryer and put a couple things in there, mostly some frozen veggies and a few burritos. I didn't mention it to my wife because she wasn't home when I brought it in. When my wife got home later in the day, she went downstairs to do laundry and discovered my freezer. She excitedly ran upstairs to tell me that upstairs is full and she can actually fit more food in there now. I respond that under no circumstances is she to touch the freezer because it's mine. Not a single ice cube should be put in there. Then I told her to not even ask because I knew she'd mention 3, 4 times a day that she needs more freezer room. She sulked and tried to debate the issue, but I was able to placate her. A couple of days later, I went down to the basement to get something from my freezer, and there I found it about 70% full of microwave dinners. Oh, damn. Upon checking the freezer in the kitchen, I found that it too was still completely full. I calmly went downstairs with a large garbage bag, threw everything into it, and then tossed it into our trash bin. And then I found a padlock I had lying around and locked it with a chain. Later that day, my wife brought more frozen food to put into the new freezer, but when she got downstairs, she noticed the lock and flipped her lid. She told me that I was being controlling, and when I told her that there's no way she'll ever use that freezer again, she threw something like a tantrum and left for her mom's house. She came back later that day and told me I had 24 hours to unlock the freezer. Nothing really happened after those 24 hours, but now she completely ignoring everything I say. I think my actions were justifiable, but was I wrong here? All right. So one, nah, homie's wild for that. Like, I feel like there's like such a bridge of communication in all of this. So like, this is how I see it, right? You got a freezer full of food. Yes, I see the freezer full of food. You see the freezer full of food. So we should do something about it. But you bought a bigger freezer. A bigger freezer is to fit more food, so I can see where she got that from. You know what I'm saying? But that's something I should have talked about like here. You know what I'm saying? Before anything went any further. Um, she came back later that day and told me that I had 24 hours to unlock the freezer. Nothing really happened after those 24 hours, but now she's completely ignoring everything I say. I think my actions were justifiable, but was I wrong here? All right, so like I feel like there's a lot of like non-communication going on here, right? One, 4 grand is way too much for a fridge. I don't care what you say. Spending 4 grand on a fridge is not going to solve your issues. You guys, you should have said something. Like you should have said something. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, it's kind of on her too to like if she's not like you can't just ignore the amount of space you have in a freezer. Like you can't just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? So like it's just you got to communicate. Like you got to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Buying the freezer, the deep freezer for yourself. I mean, like probably some people say that's smart, but like, so if you buy the deep freezer for yourself, right? Does that make the regular freezer hers, or y'all both still gonna use the regular freezer? You see what I'm saying? And that's your freezer. I mean, like, honestly, does that even really matter? Because, like, either way, you're married. You bought it, it's yours. Say what you want, you know what I'm saying? But even when she told to try to debate it, I mean, like, that could have also been your in to kind of explain to her, like, look, like, you're putting too much food in the freezer, dog. Like, but I also don't feel like you shouldn't have not told her just because she wasn't home. I feel like you was trying to be sneaky. Like, let's be real. You didn't want to have to tell her. You don't feel like you have to tell her. You should tell her. Like, um, throwing out the food, wasting all that food is like kind of OD, don't you think? Like, can't just be wasting food like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I don't think that was the answer to waste it. And then put a lock on it too. Like, all right, maybe like you at your wits end, but like, come on now. Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Um, Seemed like when she went to her mom's backed her up, which is why she tried to come home with the ultimatum. I mean, like, ultimately, ultimatums don't always exactly work. Um, Sometimes they do, but like in the end, it really depends on the person. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like he was trying to be controlling. Like, maybe not controlling of her, controlling of the household. Yeah, for sure. Try to limit the amount of food that's coming in, because you know what I'm saying. But like, bro, just eat the food, right? Nah, yeah, eat the food. That's what I would have done. Everything get like 2 3 days. My family, we got 3 kids. My shorty, look, you get something. It's still here 2 3 days later. I'm eating it. It's gone because we need space for the next set of food that's gonna be eaten. You know what I'm saying? Yo, leave a like on the video if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you didn't. Comment, subscribe, tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we keep doing more of these. Get enough likes. You know what I'm saying? All right, yo, be out.